no. Now, it is a little scary. All the guys that I've sat close to over the last 4 years have left, so I'm getting a little worried. That means those in. No, just kidding. Well, like we did for James, we thought we would do a little funny send-off, and of course I got chosen to do this, so if you'll bear with me for a little while. Now, it was a little bit harder to come up with names for Russ this time. You know, Russ was a man of fewer words, shall we say. But even though he was a man of few words, every word was very important. He never wasted a word. So it was a little harder to come up with little sayings or colloquialisms, but with everybody's help, I think we got enough material here. And I had to juice it up a little bit this time. Okay, so bear with me. Well, let me start off by saying, let me relate something to you. When I first came to PSI, as y'all know, Russ sat where Bob is now, and I was where Sean is. And I remember that one of the first conversations he had was a guy named Hector. You remember Hector? Oh man, he was on the phone with Hector all the time. There was one conversation. Actually, it may have been a couple of conversations, but there was one conversation I'll never forget. Hector, you want to take 2 weeks off? Well, okay, all right, when? All right, fine. And then I think it was the next day or a couple of days later, he's talking to Hector again. He's like, what? You want to take another day off this week? What? Hector, I'm giving you 2 weeks off next month, and you want to take another day off now?
So, Victor, you remember Hector?
And then he said, I want to see all your Skype reports for the next week, okay? Send them to me, email them to me. I want to know that you're working. Now sometimes, every now and then, sometimes I would be the brunt of his wrath. Especially when I was behind on the gross margin, he would come by and he would say, Gary, I thought the 4B would be done by now. Where's my 4B? I asked you for the 4B. The 4B, not the 4A, not the 4C. And I don't mean to just play 4, the 4B. He didn't say all that. I made some of that. And then there was the whole lunchtime routine. I don't know, probably in the earlier days, you've probably heard this more than we do now, but at lunchtime it was something like, Russ would come by with everybody and, anybody interested in going to lunch? And then we would, you might say, oh yeah, where are you going? Cafe Carolina. And then the next day, do it again, right? Anybody ready? Anybody want to go to lunch? Yeah, where are you going today? Cafe Carolina. So that's when we kind of figured out, oh, okay, that's it. He goes there every day. Okay. All right. Sometimes it could get a little bit sticky about scheduling and work scheduling and so forth. So this is I'll give you a couple of extremes, okay? You might be staying late. You might be really working late. You're tired. And he'd come by and he'd say, Gary or whoever. Gary, I don't want you staying late. Just go home, okay? Go home, all right? It's fine. Go home. But then the next morning, first thing he's like, where's the report? Where's the 4B? The 4B isn't ready yet? What? But you said I could go home. Or here's another one. Somebody said this. said, you cannot leave before 5 o'clock, okay? Accounting people have to send a message to the rest of the company. If you leave before 5, what is that going to do to the, what is that going to, kind of message is that going to send? Now, during all the closings, you know, whether it was month end, quarter end, sometimes it'd be more intense than others, but one of the things that he would say often is, so how is the Bookshot reconciliation coming? Bookshot, don't you know what I'm saying? Bookshot. Did you not hear me the first time? And then, you know, a lot of times he'd come by and ask James or whoever, how's the VA 719 coming? The 719. Is that ready yet? Okay, all right. And then 5 minutes later, is it ready yet? Or if it was a really, man, if he really wanted something, man, he really needed it. He's like, drop everything. This is important. This is priority. Drop it. Drop it. Or if you were in a meeting, meetings with Russ and the other ones could get intense, but he would say, like if you were explaining something, then the first thing he would say, well, first of all, we're going to do this. First of all. Or he might come by your desk and say, hey, Gary, you got 5 minutes to spare? We're going to meet you. You got 5 minutes? Just 5 minutes, okay? And then 30 minutes later, oh, thank you, Gary. Okay, well, I was a little hesitant to do this one, but then there's the matter of music. You know, I mean, Russ never really talked about the kind of music he liked. You know, we tried to get him to talk about it, but he never really, I'm sorry. You know, he never really got into that. So, you know, I started thinking. You know, he's from New York. I think he really likes the Ramones. I think that's you ever heard of the punk rockers, the Ramones? That's who, especially they have a song called I Want to Be Sedated. Or probably right now he's probably thinking, should I stay or should I go? I would sing it. You want me to sing it for you? I'll sing it. Well, maybe later. Well, let's see. Okay. Well, you know, I guess you might see, this probably could be a Dico party. We never really had an official Dico party, you know, like a Go Live or anything like that. But if you were giving a Dico party and Russ was a speaker, you know, this is probably something Russ might say, okay? All right, I want to thank everyone who supported us during this Dico transition, okay? It was very difficult, but I want to say this. We'll no longer have to prepare these financial reports manually. Oh, this is going to be so great, especially that 4B report. No longer will we have to prepare it manually, okay? The system will do it so great. Now, as for those of you who didn't support it, and you know who you are, you better not dare come near my confession, or there'll be hell to pay. Well, probably the most famous thing we know Russ to say of all.
Yeah.
Probably the most famous thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, Gary. Come on, Gary.
Well, you know, we thought about, after you retire, we were going to all call you up one day.
Yes.
And we were going to ask you this, all together now.
Yeah.
What's your